Well, we'll see.
I'm going to have to record that whole lecture for the people again. So, click the wrong button. So, it's just when none of my live streams have worked this week. So, spring break, I guess. Okay. So, we've got a good half hour, 40 minutes. You want to take a look at some of the practice problems or the reading quiz. That'd be a good way. So then let's take a look at this because we haven't actually talked about amortizations, and now that we're recording, we can add that part in. So if you just joined us and wonder where we were, you'll be able to take a look at the PowerPoint, at least for that other section. For this section, we should be able to be right on topic. Okay, so we're going to just go to the reading quiz. And I think that's how I'll introduce the topic of annuities. Because all an annuity is there's two types of annuities. One's a savings annuity where we put in a regular amount each month. So we did a little bit of that. I put $200 a month away every month. That's a savings annuity. A payout annuity is just the opposite. I have a big chunk of money, and from that money I withdraw $200 a month or whatever. Right? A regular amount being taken from it. That's a payout. So they have a few of these types of calculations here where these should be similar to what we were doing last week as well. Okay, so here's the first one. And notice there's only 11 questions, so I think we can get through most of these. It'll get you through the reading quiz and should get you well prepared for the homework problems. Okay, so you invest $3,300 in an account with an annual interest rate of 6% compounded monthly. So notice if you divide 6% by 12 months, that's going to be 0.5% a month. So that's what we're going to be using. At the end of each month, you deposit $125 into the account. So that's what makes it an annuity, is we started with a savings amount, but we're regularly putting in a monthly deposit of $125. So that's right here. Okay. Now for these calculations, we're not going to use the TVM solver because they're wanting us to calculate month by month. So I will pull up just the regular calculator. Let's move that over. Okay. And so the calculation, we start with 3,300. That's our balance. We're going to get the interest on 3,300. And so we do 3,300 times 0.005. Okay. Does anyone know why I went with 0.005? Okay. So let me explain that one. So 5% each month. When we do this calculation, so this is kind of like what we were doing in lesson 4, chapter 4, with percentages, is what we want to do is we want to change it from a percentage to a decimal. To do that, we divide by 100. Remember that proportion we had, a percent over 100? Okay, so that's where that comes from. When we do that, you plug that in, 0.5 divided by 100 is going to give you 0.005. So some of us just remember to move the decimal over 2 places. If you just do the calculation, you'll get it either way. Okay, I probably should have done the calculation, but so that's the factor we're going to use to calculate the interest each month. So that's why it's good to have you guys here live. I mean, I could just be doing this from home. It's so much better. So $16.05 or $16.50. So we come here, we put in our $16.50. Okay. And then what do? Well, we take 3,300 plus the interest plus the additional payment we put in, and that will give us our total. So take 3,300 plus 1650 plus the payment of $125 And now we've got $3,441.50. So that's what we put here. 3,441.5. Actually, you know what? Should have done this earlier. They're off the screen there. The what?
At month 2, we have $3,300, but at month 4, we have $3,583. Why is that a bigger balance?
Oh, then earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we take what is the ending balance here. It's the new balance for that month. So we re-enter 3,441.5. Okay. So each month, so notice this number here comes from this number over here. So we calculate, we get a new balance, and then that goes, that's the starting balance of the next month. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. So yeah, so the question was why this one's getting bigger. And the way they've done this is this number at the end, we need to match that. If we don't match it, it means we made some error along the way. Okay. So it's kind of, yeah, you get a check. So then we've got $3,441.50. That's our starting balance. We're going to get the interest on it. So again, we multiply by 0.005. And we've now got $17.21 if we round it up, right? So 17.20, 7.5. So this 7 rounds the 1 up to 21. So in here we put 17.21. So we're getting a little bit more interest each month. So this is the effect of compounding. And we're able to add all of these together. $3,441.50 plus 17.21 plus 125. 3,441.5 plus 17.21 plus the $125 deposit. We now have $3,583.71, and that matches the end of the line, so we know we're correct. That gets carried over. We get the interest again at 125. We get another number. We put that down there. Here's the interest we're supposed to get, so that will help us check. If we add it all together, we get this value down here, which is it okay if we don't complete it? Is it you okay with going from there? Okay, so each time we're taking the starting balance, so I'll just highlight it. So the next calculation would be to take this times 0.005, that goes there, and in the end we add all these numbers together, the starting balance, the interest, plus the new payment, and that will equal the amount that we have at the end of the month. That amount goes over here because it's nothing happens between the end of the month and the beginning of the month. It's actually just a second, right? Midnight 1 to midnight in 1 second, that's the next. So it's really just the balance carries over. Whatever that is, you'll multiply by the interest rate, 0.005. That should be $18.63. If it's not, we've made an error somewhere along there. So they've already done the calculations for us. And again, then what we do is we add the balance to the interest to the final payment, and that gives us the closing balance. So it's just taking you step by step, month by month, through one set of calculations. In the future, what we're going to do is we'll use the TDM solver, because a lot of times with these, we don't want to know what we'll have in 3 months. We want to know what we'll have in 10 years. I don't want to do this for 10 years. 12 times 10, that's 120 calculations. Maybe if I had a Excel spreadsheet, I would plug it in, but even then, it's just nice to calculate it. Okay? So we'll clear this out. Take a look at the next one. I will go ahead and answer this. Just personally, if you want to skip these are good ones to skip because you kind of have to read through the thing or come back to them later. Which of the following describes an annuity? So a lump sum is deposited into an account earning compound interest. Is that an annuity? What did I say you need for an annuity? You need a regular we call it a regular deposit or a regular payment into it. So yes, it needs to have something. It needs to be fueled monthly or annual. You could do an annual annuity, but it's not just putting money in and letting it sit. That's not an annuity. So that's not true. Equal regular deposits. Actually, that's a better thing. It's not just putting in some money whenever we feel like it. It's doing it on a regular basis, an equal amount. A lump sum is deposited in an account earning simple interest. Nope. It's not anything about a lump sum. Deposits are made at random whenever you feel like doing it. No, I don't think so. Annuity, there's only one thing that's true. Okay. And that's the basis of an annuity. And just to let you know, I believe there is a question on the final that is similar to this, asking about what annuity is. If you just remember, annuity means a regular equal payment. Good. You got one of the final exam questions under your belt. I'll remind you later too, but so that's why this one's okay. So far, so good. So lump sum by itself is not an annuity. You have to make regular payments, then it's an annuity. So you deposit $5,000 each year into an account earning 4% interest compounded annually. How much will you have in the account in 20 years? Now, do we have to do 20 calculations with this? Fortunately not. This is where our TVM solver comes in. It is built in for doing annuities as well. So what do we do? The first part is we're depositing $5,000 each year into an amount. So where does that $5,000 go? Highlight. Where does that $5,000 go? Let me ask you this. Is that $5,000, is it a positive or a negative value? Is it coming to us or going away from us? Away. So from our perspective, we're actually going to count that as negative. So you could count, actually the right answer is it could be either. Right? But if I make it positive, then my answer is going to be negative. If I make it negative, if I just keep track that anything, from my perspective, any money that goes away from me is negative. And you might think you still have it because it has your name on the account, but you've actually given use of that money to somebody else. There's two places it could go. Does it go in present value or does it go in payment? And why would it go in one over the other? Because it is a deposit, right? But it's a regular deposit. So it's a good. Two options are present value or payment. That's where the beginning values are at. Good. Payment, because it's regular. Now, if you additionally had it in, like a lump sum at the beginning, but whenever, even that first deposit is counted as a payment. Okay, so they do the payments at the beginning. You pay $5,000 and then $5,000. So you don't want to put it in both. It really is a payment. So we're just going to come to our TVM calculator. We'll put that in, and I'll put it in as negative 5,000. Again, you could do it as a positive 5,000. You'd still be okay, but this kind of helps keep it track. So in that case, was there any initial deposit other than the 5,000? No, so we'll put a 0 there. Okay, what's our rate? 4. Okay, So 4%, and we just put that in as 4. We don't have to put 0.04. We have to put 4%. And because there's a percent there. What else do we know? It's annually, and it's for 20 years. So here's our little drop-down thing. We want to make sure it's on annual, which usually that's the default, but if we were doing something else, we want to make sure that's there. And then the periods are the number of years times the number of times per year. So annual is once per year, so 1 times 20 is 20. But if this was monthly, what would we need to do? 12 times 20, that would be 240 periods. Okay, so this is a key part. If we're doing things monthly, we're always multiplying the years times 12. If we're doing it annually, multiply by 1, and 1 is my favorite number to multiply by. I got pretty good at that real quick. I was really proud of myself, how good I could multiply by 1. Showed my dad. He wasn't as excited as I was, but, you know, I did a whole page of multiplying by 1s. Anyone else do that? Made a whole book of multiplying by 1s. Big numbers, I could multiply by 1. Okay. And then future value, what are we going to put there?
0.
Well, if it was a loan, we'd put 0. This time, this is what the question's asking, so we're just going to click on the FV button, and it will give us the answer. Okay. So that's, because it's, yeah. The question is, how much will you have in the future, you know? So it's future value, so we just click on that. And that's the way all of these will work. We'll fill in all the blanks except for one, and the one that's not filled is the question. We click on that button and it gives us the answer. And what's even cooler, it's because it's all on the computer, we can copy. This is really, it's not just laziness, although that's part of it. It's, I copy, sometimes when I copy things over, I make errors, and when I copy and paste, I don't make any errors. Submit it, and it liked it, it's good. Okay, so you could do, that's what's nice about this. When you take the final exam, I will give you will do it through MAT141. I have it set up in there. There'll be multiple choice, but you will also have access to all these tools that you're using. So I've set it up so it's like once you get used to all the tools, you'll still have those same tools when you take the final. And it'll be a similar interface. That's why I'll get a computer room. You can bring your laptop if you want. It's just actually, you can even, especially for the online people, you don't even have to come in. The only thing is, it is a proctored exam. They have something called Proctor U that will basically proctor the exam through your webcam. So if you've got a laptop or even a desktop with a webcam, you can take it at home. They just proctor it just to make sure that you're doing it on your own, and they ask you to show, take your webcam, show your screen, all that kind of stuff. But it can be done. It costs some money. $20, $30. I'm not, but depends on the length. But if you're interested, I've got the information. As we get closer, I'll post that. But you can also just come here during the times we schedule, or we could take it through the testing center. And I've had a few people being concerned about the final exam. Here's my answer to you. If you just do all the homeworks, 1 through 12, you do your final project, and you just do at least the, you meet all the requirements, you'll get all the points. You'll need you'll need at most 50% to get an A. You'll have a B before you even get to the final. So nobody's going to fail the class because of the final. Even if you don't take it, if you do everything else, especially with the extra credit, you'll at least have a B. Right? You come in, take the final, you get about 50%, you've got an A. So it's really just kind of there to determine between the B and the A's. Okay. And just to let you know, after last semester, I think the lowest score I had for any student was like maybe 45%. And he had enough extra credit, he was okay still with that. So don't fret too much about it. We'll do some review. The final really is more of standard questions, a few out of each of the chapters. It's 30 questions. It's not that bad. So don't let that, I got people who are really stressed and they're thinking they're going to fail the class if they don't, pass the final or something. Says, heck, you get a B in the class without even taking the final. Don't worry. Oh, a B? I'm just looking for a C. I said, well, don't worry about it then. Don't stress about something that doesn't need to be stressed about. But it also, if you do well, it kind of feels good to put it all together. Because again, the goal of this is that we expose you to a lot of different types of math. We're not trying to make you experts in any of it, but hopefully a few things will stick with you, and you'll be able to keep moving forward. Okay? So yeah, let's just keep moving and bust these out. So far so good? That's basically our calculation. Here's another one. So it looks like another annuity. We just highlight. We have $700,000 for retirement. Suppose you want to have $700,000 for retirement in 25 years. Your account earns 5% interest, and your answer's to the nearest cent. So how much would you need to deposit in the account each month? So this is kind of, we want to, so $700,000, what kind of a value is that? When do we want that money? When we retire in 25 years. So is it a PV or an FV? It's an FV. It's a future value. And some people ask, how do you clear this? I don't know. So we just, but we just go to highlight, and we could delete. So we put 700, and we want it to come back to us, so that's going to be a positive value, right? That's a 700,000 that comes back to us. The hardest part is getting enough zeros in there. Okay. How much money do we have to start with? Doesn't say, does it? So it must be zero. So this is one of those things where present value is zero. What's our interest rate? 5%. So they give that to us. How long do we have to save? 25 years, because we got 25 years to retirement. But how often are we going to do this savings? Each month. So we want to take 25 years times 12 months per year, and that gives us, I just don't even want to think about multiplying right now. So it's 25. I should know that.
300.
How much?
300.
Yeah, that's such an easy number. I should have remembered that, but I just didn't want to. I don't know. It was kind of rebellious, mathematical rebelliousness. Okay, so we got 300. That's going to be the number of periods. So we think of it. We're going to make this payment every month for 25 years. So we will make 300 payments. So we put that in here. What else do I need to change? Oh, good. I'll change this to monthly. Now the PMT I could either change, or when I push the button on this, it will calculate it for me. So you could just delete it if you want, but I'll just show you. I'll just click PMT and it calculates it for me. It's negative. What does that mean? It's got to come out of my pocket into an investment account. So that's money that's got to go away from me. I can't use that money. I have to put it in investment, and then I'll get my 700,000 back. But it's not too bad. 1,175. Okay. So again, we can copy and paste. The one thing is when we paste it, we want to take off the negative sign, because MathAS won't like the negative sign. The negative sign means it goes away, but I think it'll mark it wrong. Pretty sure it'll mark it wrong. So we'll take that out. How much interest will you earn? This is a... I don't know. There's no button up there that says interest. So this is the one calculation we run into this part. Well, how much do we end up with? 700, right? Future value, 700. That's what we end up with. How much did we pay into it? Well, we paid $1,175.46. $1,175.46. How many times did we make that payment? We made that payment 300 times. Each of the periods is one. So if we take 300 times that, we will find out how much we paid into this account, and then the rest that got us to the 700,000, the rest is the interest. So this is the trick, we'll run into the same kind of questions with mortgage. They'll ask about the interest. You cannot directly calculate the interest. So don't try to take the 5% and multiply it by something. We're not going to be able to directly calculate the interest. We're going to calculate how much we paid, subtract it from either the ending value or the principal, and we will see what's left over is interest. Okay, so I really need help with this one. I probably could do this, but let's 1,175. I got a calculator up here, don't I? So see, you kind of need both a regular calculator and a TVM calculator. So we should calculate it up here because our people at home also could see it. So I take the payment times the number of times I make that payment. Wow, I paid in $352,638, but I ended up with 700,000. So you could almost guess, yeah, it's almost, I doubled, the interest is almost double it. So what I do is I take that and I subtract off the final balance, 700,000. It shows me the amount of interest was 347,362. Okay, so this is a calculation you will do many times in this section. Oops. And again, whenever it asks for the interest, don't try to calculate it directly. It just can't be done. You can take all your payments, that's the money you put in, multiply by the number of payments. This is, and again, you'll do it with loans as well. That's the total you paid, the rest is interest. Okay. So far, so good? Make sense? Not, you're just going to let me keep going though, right? Because I look like I'm having fun. I am having fun. So, because I'm getting them right? So that's good stuff. That's the key part. Just remember, when they ask you to calculate interest, you're going to get the total payments, and then you're going to subtract it from something to get the interest. Okay, so we'll do it a few more times, I'm sure. I'm not saving these as pictures as notes, so we'll just, I don't know, the technology has just bashed me down this week. I'm just trying to hang on to get through it. So we'll make it through it. At least, I think we're still live streaming. So, okay. So now, let's see. We got a few more questions. I'll try to keep us moving. You have 500,000 saved for retirement, so we already have it. That's cool. Anyone got 500,000 for retirement yet? I'm getting close. Just another 20 years and I'll be there. No. Your account earns 2% interest. That's not very good, but well, we'll take it. How much will you be able to pull out each month if you want to be able to take withdrawals for 15 years? So this is really a cool. This is another use of the TVM solver. We can see if I got a chunk of money, how much can I get out each month? And I'll show you two ways. I'll show you the way the question's asking it to be done, and I'll show you the way that I would, I think for your own safety, this is the other way you should do it. Okay, so we've got 500,000 saved. Where does that go? Present value, good. And since it's in an investment, we'll put it as a negative 500,000 because it's not really in our pocket. It's just got our name on it, but somebody else is using it, and they're giving us interest on it. How much interest are they giving us to use it? 2%, right? Not very exciting, but that's what they're doing. So we want to take, what kind of withdrawals? You want to pull out money each month, so we're going to take monthly withdrawals. You want to be able to take out withdrawals for 15 years. So we're going to leave it on monthly. What's 15 years monthly? That one I can remember. 15 times 12, 180. Again, it's time to put me out to the pasture if I can't remember that one, because that's the old loan officer thing. loan processor thing. 15-year loans are 180 payments. 30-year loans are 360. If I ever forget that, I've got Alzheimer's or something. So yeah, call them to come pick me up and take me to the hospital. Okay? So that's all good. And what's our future value going to be? We don't know. But the way they're asking this question is we just want payments for 15 years and then we don't care what happens, right? We figure we're going to be dead, probably. So we'll do this the way they're asking is we really want a zero there. We want to pull out all our money. They want to maximize. They didn't say this, they should have, but this is not the way I would suggest doing retirement planning, and I'll tell you in a moment. And then what do we do with the payment? We figure it out. We just hit the payment button. And watch, it's going to be a positive. This is money coming back to us. The $500,000 sitting invested somewhere, it's not in our pocket. It's somebody else is using it, giving us 2%. The payment is going to be a positive value that comes for us so we can spend it each month. The only problem with this, at the end, we have no money. So if we live 15 years in a month, that last month we have no money. So that's the danger of doing it this way. But it's the correct way for this answer, I'm sure. So again, I could have copied and pasted, but I'll show you. I do know how to type sometimes. $3,217.54, and then we'll hit the submit button, and of course it'll say we're correct. Okay. Now, what would be a better way, though, to calculate this? What would be a safer way? Because maybe you're going to live for 20, 30 years. 30 years, it's not unheard of. My grandmother, she's turning 97. My grandfather passed away at 86, and we thought, Grandma, because when Grandpa was sick, Grandma was taking care of him, and she wasn't doing so well. As soon as Grandpa passed away from his illnesses and everything, Grandma just kind of got, and I think she's going to be around longer than I am. She's already, so she's doing strong. So that sometimes happens. And how can we keep getting some kind of income at least? What might we want to do here? Instead of putting in zero for a future value, what should we do? What if you want to conserve your principal? That's why they call it conservative money management. You want to conserve your principal. You don't want to use your principal. So we have a $500,000 now. Future, we want to keep that $500,000. So we want to just live off of the interest, right? So the way we do that calculation is when we come here to future value, we simply put in a positive $500,000, because not only do we want all the regular payments, we want that $500,000 back. We don't want to use it up. Now, what do you think that's going to do to our payment? It's going to make it go higher or lower? Lower, because now we're just taking interest, right? So our payment, we're living off $833, is not as exciting. But what will happen is we can live forever off of this money. Okay. Now we might do an adjustment. We might say, well, I need more than that, so maybe I'll do a future value of $250,000. So you can play with this, but this is the type of game you need to play with, and you don't want to make your planning that I'm only going to live 15 years. And my story on that is after I did mortgage loans, I was in financial planning. And it was kind of cool. I was down in Corvallis. I went to school up in Portland, Oregon, Beaverton, Oregon, actually. And my guy I was working for, my boss, he had as a client my previous high school driver's ed teacher, who had retired, and he was kind of a big guy, portly guy. He wasn't all that healthy, but he didn't think he'd make it more than 15 years, so he did his retirement where he gave away a lot to his grandkids. He spent his money, and 15 years later, he still wasn't greatly healthy, but he wasn't deathly ill either. You could say, I'm probably going to live another 15. So we did some planning. He hadn't used it all up. But that was the planning thing, is don't plan to be dead in 15 years. Your curse will be you won't die. You'll wish you were dead, but because you have no money to live off of. So plan to be around for 30, 50, 100 years, And if you're gone in 15, you know, you won't miss. That extra money will go to someplace. You can, your favorite charity, your children, whatever. But it's hard to live those extra years when you've gotten used to living off of $3,000 a month, and all of a sudden your money's all dried up, and now you have nothing. Okay, so as you do these questions, think of those. Some of these questions, they want you to say, use up all the capital, it's all gone. That gives you a value, sort of that's the maximum you could get out. But what I want to show you is the difference between, you know, 2% is kind of a guaranteed rate. If you get some education on how to invest, what kind of an interest rate do you think you should be able to get? You learn a little bit about stocks and bonds, and you go into mutual funds, or you find a person you can trust that's in the industry and helping you do these investments. What do you think a good rate would be? I told you 2% is a poor rate, so anything better than that. What do you think would be a pretty average rate you should be able to get? Take a guess. Can't be wrong. 5%. It's good. You should definitely be able to get a 5% rate on just even some standard government bond funds. If you invest a little bit more aggressively, maybe going into stuff like Apple and some of the bigger, you know, what's another, Chevron, whatever companies you want to go into, but some of these, you know, actually buying stock in company. Here's the deal: is if you, and you can do it in a spread way, that's not too bad. You can, not too difficultly, get between maybe 8 to 12%. Okay. What I do for planning purposes, I'd be a little conservative. If we can get 8 to 12, we plan at about 6 or 5, we're probably going to be okay. But let's just watch what happens if I change that 2% to 8%. So that 8% I'm able to get because I went and got some education. Maybe not at a college, or those are types of things you go to, maybe community workshops, and maybe you do a little bit of research on your own about how to invest, but you should be able to go from a 2% to an 8% without being a genius, because I'm not a genius, and we were able to do it. And watch what it does to your payment. Your payment goes from $833 a month. Oh, that's the same amount of, that's actually more money than we were getting when we were using up our principal. We're getting now, because of our education and investing, we're able to get that same payment, that same monthly amount, but we never use up our money. Isn't that amazing? And I didn't do this in advance. I was just, you just play with it. If I could get 12%, I could get even more out. Okay? And the key is what you really want to do is you don't want to take all the interest, because you want some of that interest to sort of get replanted, and so that your balance keeps growing. Because what happens to money over time? Generally, it's what? It sort of decreases. Your dollar doesn't buy as much. When I was a kid, we used to have something called penny candy. Does anyone? And then I remember a few years ago, penny candy cost 2 pennies. You couldn't buy it for 1 penny; it cost 2 pennies. That's not penny candy anymore. I don't know. Now it's probably cost 5 pennies, 5 cents for. But money loses value, actually. Inflation. It takes money back.
Shaking right now is in the 50s with the minimum wage.
Yeah.
You can pay the rent with just 1 week. Right now you
Can't do it. Can't. So you have to work 2 months, pay 1 month's rent. Probably something like that. Yeah. So anyway, as you go through these, let's try not, because we got to get to a couple other types. So let's go ahead and keep going. But see, what I want you to do is kind of have fun with this and play with this, because that's the value of this section. This is your life, and as you plan it out, and I just, you know, I've been in financial planning, I've been in loans, I've used up my, I've already spent probably 2 or 3 actually, yeah, I've spent through 2 retirements. I might go through a 3rd one, and then but I love what I do. That's the other thing, is when you know, part of your education is you're hopefully getting into something you love to do. And you know, then you really never work. I mean, I really do enjoy being in classrooms. Sometimes I don't always you know, the administrative side of being in school is different, but I love being in a classroom. So I don't mind being here when I'm 85 years old, fact, I might just do it because I might get bored sitting at home, right? So that's the kind of job I found for myself. But the other part is, if you just take the time to learn how to use money and use it in a way that, you know, protects you, you can do so much more with it. And again, you never have too much because you can always give it away. But you can't, if you don't have enough to make the payments, they start taking stuff away from you, and it's not as much fun anymore. I've also been without a home. I spent a few weeks living off of somebody's couch because I had no place else to go. And don't tell them, when I was at Oregon State, I lived for 2 weeks in my office. But, you know, hey, I got through it. But I know what it's like to not have enough to get through, you know, to have to need to work 2 months to make that 1 month payment, recover, and then get smart again. So we've done one similar to this, so I'm going to maybe skip over this. It's suppose you borrow, oh, this is an amortization schedule. So you're calculating the interest on the balance, you're taking the payment, and you're subtracting. You want to take a look at this, or?
Just maybe like the first.
The first?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. Let's clear the screen. Okay, so they did a lot of the calculations up here, hopefully to show you. We're going to do 1% interest on the prior balance, and 1% is a month's worth of interest. Okay, so it's actually 12% a year. And what they did is they took 12% divided by 12 months. That's how they get 1%. Okay. So again, for over here, we're just taking the ending balance of on this loan of $727.29. That's going to get copied here. To get the interest, we're going to multiply by 0.01, which is 1% divided by 100%. Okay. So 727. The cool thing is actually you just need to move the decimal over 2 places, but I just want to show you that. This is the amount we owe. We multiply by 0.01, which is 1%. And notice that'll be $7.27 of interest. So we can enter our things in here. 727.29. That was from the previous line. The interest is $7.27. Our payment is $100 a month, so we still make that payment. So that's going to get subtracted off. So the interest gets added on. So this is the calculation. We take 727.29, we add on to it 727, and then we subtract the 100, which is the payment we make, and that will give us our total for here. Okay, so there, 727.29 plus the interest equals, subtract the payment, so our new balance at the end of that month, $634.56. Okay, same thing's going to, you copy that number here, calculate the interest, add the interest, subtract the $100, and then we'll have our final balance here. Submit it just to see if that line's correct. Yes, I know we didn't complete it all, but just to show you that that line was correct. Okay, so calculate the interest, add it to the balance, subtract the payment. Is that good so far? And again, I've done some of the practice problems. I can't remember if it's been since last summer. There's some of them are like this. Also remember, if you get stuck on something and you would like me to work a video, I can always give a full explanation through a video. But I do look to see if I've already got one. I'll refer you that way. Okay, ready for the next one? So we'll go. You can afford $450 a month car payment, so now we're getting into loans. You found a 3-year loan at 6% interest. How big of a loan can you afford? Okay, so $450 a month. So we come to TVM Solver. Where does the $450 a month go? It's a payment, right? Is it going to be a positive or a negative? Negative, because that's money coming out of our pocket. So we can afford to take $450 a month out of our pocket. What's our interest rate? 6%. How many years? 3, but we're going to make monthly payments, right? 3 times 12, 36. So you get used to seeing these numbers. It's monthly. On a loan, what is future value just about always going to be? 0. We're going to pay off this loan, so we have to put a 0, future value of 0. And then what we're going to calculate is what the present value is. So this will tell us the maximum amount we could borrow. And again, you could clear it out. I just show you, just click on the PV key. And it shows that we could actually, for this situation, we could borrow $14,791.96. Get help from mom or dad, and we could get a $15,000 car. Actually, a little bit of down payment. They'll probably want some down payment. Okay, again, we can copy and paste. If we could get a lower interest rate, what would that allow us to do? We could borrow more, couldn't we? At a higher interest rate, we would be borrowing less. So this is the type of things that the economy affects us as rates go up and down. If rates go up, we could basically keep the same monthly payment, but we're not going to be able to borrow as much, which means we can't buy as nice, we can't buy the car maybe we want. But if interest rates go down for the same monthly payment, we get more money. So you see how this is how the economy affects all of us. We may not think of it all the time, but low interest rates create an area where there's sort of wealth created through borrowing, because you can borrow more at a lower rate. As rates go up, it's more expensive to borrow, and so then that's most of our economy is a consumer economy is based upon that premise. Okay, you want to buy a car again? The loan amount will be $29,000. The company is offering 5% interest for 60 months. What will your monthly payment be? Okay, so again, these are the same type of things, except this time they tell us what our present value is. Is our present value positive or negative? Who gets to drive the car? We do. So the loan, the money is coming to us. The present value is always a positive value. It's actually coming to us so we could buy the car. It's ours. Okay. Payments are going to be negative. Right? What else do we know? 5%. How long are we going to have this loan? They were kind of kind. They told us it's 60 months, so they did the calculation for us. For 5 years, it's monthly. Future value will be 0 because we're going to pay it off. So then we just click on the payment key. And again, if you got a TI-84 calculator, those work just as well too. So $547.27. That's going to be our monthly payment for our $29,000 loan. And we may have had to put a down payment as well. Right, don't put the negative. So when you cut and paste, don't paste in the negative. It'll make it wrong. You can put it in and then take it out later. Okay, so those are the monthly payments. So if you know how much you're borrowing, you can calculate a monthly payment. These are good things to bring in with you when you're buying a car, so you can double check the loan people. Because that's, in a car dealership, where do they make their money? It's not from selling the cars. I mean, they make money from selling cars, yes. But they make more money from putting loans on the cars they sell. They make more money in the finance department. They make maybe twice as much money out of the finance department than they make selling cars. Because they can they get you higher interest. Oftentimes they're giving you above market interest, so they're getting kickbacks from the lenders because they're trying to run some good business, secure business. I had a friend who was in used car sales, and he would price his cars. He said, I only make $1,000 to $2,000 on every car, depending upon what size. He says, where I make it up is I do the loans, and I'll make $3,000 to $4,000 on the loan on that car. So he'd go down to California, find cheap cars, bring them up to Oregon, make his $1,000 or $2,000 on each car. That sort of paid the bills, but he made more money by putting loans on those cars. Okay, so watch the finance department. Just saying. They sell. They try to sell you credit insurance. There's a lot of things they sell you in there. Okay, you can afford a $1,200 per month mortgage payment. You found a 30-year loan, so this is good. This is good. This is one we're going to calculate the interest we pay. And again, I'll maybe I'll finish this up. So $1,200 per month for 30 years at 8%. How big of a loan can you afford? Okay, so and round to the nearest dollar. So we will put in the information we know. We can make we're making a payment of $1,200 a month. That's negative because that goes away from us. 30 years is how many months? 360. 12 times 30. We've got an interest rate of 8%, which is kind of high right now, but you know that's what they say. We don't. So the first question is how much can we borrow? So that's going to be the present value. We will calculate on that present value. So we can borrow $163,540.19. And notice it's positive, because that's money coming to us that we're going to use to buy the house. Okay, so you can copy and paste this way. How much total money will you pay the loan company? Okay, so can you help me with this one from what we did before? How do we calculate what gets paid to the loan company under this situation? Each month we pay how much? $1,200. Good. How many months will we make that payment? Okay. So those come from over here, the number of periods. Okay. So if we multiply those two together, what do we get? We get our answer. $432,000. What? We only borrowed $163,000. You mean we paid them back $432,000? This seems almost like robbery. But it's legal. How much of that money is interest? Well, how do we do that one? This is what we paid. This is what we borrowed. We subtract those two, and that's the interest. Remember I told you to get the interest, you're going to calculate the number of payments times the payments. That's what you paid. And you're going to subtract that from something. What we subtract off is the amount. We always pay back the full loan. The rest is interest. So again, what we do is we come up here. This is what we paid. We subtract off what we borrowed. 1, 6, 3, 5, 4, 0.19. Oh my goodness, we paid back $268,000 in interest. 268, 459.81. A lot of money. Much more, yeah. and I think you're right, but that's about 3 times of what we borrow, pretty close to it. There we are. So 30-year loans. But now the thing is what if we weren't buying, what would we be doing? Probably renting. Will we get any of that rent money back? Probably not. Unless it's mom and dad, be nice to us. But I had some friends that the mom and dad, they charged them rent, and then when they went to buy the house, they gave them all the rent money back. So that's cool. But yeah, you're renting anyway, so sometimes if you look at that part of that payment that you're making, would probably be going to rent anyway. And what you did, if you've got a fixed rate loan, at least you've locked in your monthly payment over time. Just how could you get? Yeah, that's right. 163,000, 12%. So, sometimes we do it because it actually makes sense over time. But what would be again, let me just show you something. What if we made an extra $100 a month payment? Just show you, this is kind of how I like to play with it. So instead of $1,200 a month, well, let's make it $150. Let's go to $1,350 a month. What I want to show you is that now I can calculate on the periods it's going to pay it off faster. So instead of taking 30 years to pay it off, I calculate the periods. It's now paid off in 248 payments. I cut off about 100 months of payments. Okay. And this will probably be the last one we do because we're running out of time. What I want to show you is what did that do, making that extra $150 a month payment. So now we paid $1,350. Almost done.
Where's our meeting at? Is it in here?
I think it's in here, but I got class for 2 more minutes.
So we'll just try to go over there.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, what were we doing? 1,350 times 248 months. Look at this, 334,000. We still, I mean, that's a total payment, but look at that's in comparison to 432,000. We saved ourselves about $100,000 over the life of this loan by just paying an extra $150 a month. We probably didn't miss it too much. Maybe we gave up a few going out to the movies or something, We probably did something like that. But isn't that worth it that not only did we get it paid off 100 months early, how much is 100 months? 120 months. That's 10 years. We got it paid off 10 years early. Saved ourselves $100,000. See, we're now in a place where in about 20 years we don't have a house payment. That money that we're saving, we've got more choices in our life. That's what this is about. It's not about getting rich so much, although nothing against you if you want to be rich. I just want to be in control of my life, and that's what it is you get the finances to work for you rather than against you. Okay.
How did we do that interest again?
The interest.
Yeah.
You take the number of periods, which is how many payments you made, times the payment. So for that one, the new payment, I took $1,350 times 248. And that gave me a total payment of $334. Now this is not interest that I paid. I would subtract the loan, but I could just see I'm comparing. This scenario saves me over 100 or close to 100,000, 98,000. Who cares? So those are the types of things. But you got to start doing it right away. You can't wait 10 years because you've lost 10 years of payments. Now you got to put $300 a month or more than that. But if you just take out a loan, you say, well, I could afford $1,350, so let me make the loan only $1,200 so I can pay extra and get done with it sooner. Or better yet, take a 15-year loan, because if you do a 15-year loan, 2 things will happen. Their interest rates are usually almost a percentage less, not always a full percentage. But a 15-year loan, you will pay a lower interest rate. You'll also pay it faster. The monthly payment's going to be bigger, yes, but if you can bite the bullet and do it, you've got your payments, you've got your loan paid off in 15 years, you've paid less interest, and again, you're in a place where you're in control of things. You get to choose what you want to do with your time and your life and your energy, rather than say, well, I got to keep working and I have to pay for this house, to pay for that, and I'm always, each month I'm always barely making it, and life can just kind of keep doing that because we do it to ourselves somehow. But anyway, that's it. I think we're next door, Joe. Okay, so we'll cut it here. I gotta get to the meeting myself, so thank you guys. Hopefully the live stream came through good. I'll